Christian Hanna horror.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Christian Hanna Horror here. Excuse the different kind of guerrilla style filmmaking. I just got a new iPhone XR, wanted to do a video using the camera and test it out using the audio from the phone, etc, etc. So for today's video, we are doing ranking the top 3 big slasher part 5s. Why the top 3? Because, well, frankly, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the buck stops there. We're getting ready to hit the remake for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So we've still got 3 slasher franchises that are carrying on the sequels with Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child, and Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. We're going to rank these 3, and this was not too difficult of a ranking because one of these films is one of my all-time favorite horror sequels. Another one is an extremely good sequel, and one of them is just a pretty good sequel in my opinion. You may be kind of confused on which one's going to be my number 1. Well, look no further because we're about to hit these 3 right now. So coming in at number 3 for me is going to be none other than Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Now, this movie obviously has its problems. I think a couple things are, first off, Halloween 5 was filmed very quickly. It was rushed. The script didn't feel good yet, especially when you see the movie on screen. It just feels like it's missing something. It needs to be paced a little bit better. The characters should have been developed a little bit better. It's just like we should already know who these people are kind of thing. And that's the way I feel. Dr. Loomis still makes this movie watchable, and the mask is really great. I love the mask in Halloween 5, contrary to some of the arguments that it's just not a Michael Myers mask. Halloween 5 has a pretty good soundtrack, has a couple decent kills, and has some pretty good 80s style music throughout the movie. While it does have some big issues, I love the laundry chute scene, and that is obviously a fan favorite. I think a lot of people like that, so even though this movie is plagued with problems, it still has really good moments, and it's a very much fun movie to watch in the franchise. Don't skip Halloween 5. Okay, so coming in at number 2, I'm sure some of you are probably wondering, what's it going to be? For me, it's going to be Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Now, I've done a surviving the sequels on this, and you know that I love Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. You know, Roy Burns is up there with me. I think he's just as viable as Jason Voorhees in terms of intensity and on-screen cinematic scare. You know, it's interesting that this movie, along with movies like Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and Freddy's Revenge for that matter, have grown in popularity, and people are finally coming around to basically liking them. I think it has to do with nostalgia and realizing this was part of the franchise that we know and love. These movies should have and could have very good merits. Friday the 13th Part 5 has one of the best soundtracks, some of the best kills, as simple as they are. They're just very brutal and straight to the point. Reggie the Reckless, might I add, is one of the best, and seeing Demon with those enchiladas, it's classic horror. I don't see how anybody could just not like Friday the 13th Part 5. Of course it's not Jason, and that's okay to me. Roy Burns is a force to be reckoned with. The story could use a little bit more of tightening on the screws, but then again, I really wouldn't change a thing. I love Friday the 13th Part 5, and so should you. Coming in number 1 for me, maybe a little surprising to some of you, but my number 1 is A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Child. Here's why. You know, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child is like a lot of these sequels where it has that preconceived notion of just feeling like a rushed film. And while I do think the movie came out maybe a little too soon, maybe a year later if it came out in 90, would have fared a little bit better well in the box office. People might have missed Freddy a little bit more. But honestly, A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 to me does not feel rushed at all. I think it's just a notion that people kind of have because it did come out quick after 4. I think The Dream Child is an extremely well-made film with its own unique look. It doesn't sound, look, or do anything like A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. If anything, Freddy's kind of reeled back in this a little bit. While he's still a smart aleck, it's a little bit darker, it's a little bit more gothic, and the characters are a little bit less comedic. That's another thing about this movie that I love is the characters. I love the comic book kid. I love all the characters in this movie, quite frankly. It's great stuff. And the imaginary stuff that was created by the director for this was quite honestly fantastic. The comic book scene. Seeing the stop motion in this, while it's charming, it still looks really good to me and I love it. Dan turning into the motorcycle, wow. You would think, how could a scene like that be cut down by the MPAA? But if you're able to watch the uncut version of this, you see why. When you see those wires go into his legs and down his skin, it really does throw a jolt up your spine. The Dream Child is a fantastic entry in the series, and I love it. You know, I kind of rank it just a little bit higher than Friday the 13th Part 5 in terms of which I like better, but it does rank a little bit higher to me. There you have it, guys. That's my top 3 for the Big Slasher Part 5s. Please let me know your list in the comments section below. Also, please be sure to hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second. Please check out the description below. Check out the Teespring and my new Patreon, which I officially relaunched with some really great stuff if you guys sign up for that. This is Christian Hanna Horror. Thank you guys for watching, and get ready for Part 6?